Hey there. So, you know how sometimes you think you've got a pretty good picture of something, maybe like the Texas oil industry,
Hmm.
but then a show like Landman drops, and suddenly you realize there's this whole other layer underneath,
Yeah,
way more complex, maybe way wilder than you'd expect.
absolutely. It's like peeling back a curtain on a world most of us only see from a distance.
Exactly. So think of this as us just, chatting about it. We're going to take a deep dive into Landman today. We'll unpack what it tells us, or maybe hints at, about the oil business itself, the people in it.
And yeah, some really unexpected, almost unbelievable twists. We've looked at descriptions of the show, some behind-the-scenes stuff, too, to get a rounded view.
Right. So the plan is basically to explore what Landman is really about and pull out some key ideas about the realities it reflects. Or maybe, exaggerates for drama.
Yeah, figuring out that balance between drama and potential reality is part of the fun. Where should we start?
Let's start with the main man, Tommy Norris. He's the absolute center of this thing. A real Texas oil guy managing wells. And his, I guess, defining trait, he's a fixer. Like
Hmm.
an ultimate fixer. The problems he tackles are.
Wow. Okay, give me an example. What kind of fixing are we talking about?
Well, right out of the gate, the show has him negotiating directly with drug cartels just to keep operations running smoothly.
Seriously. Cartels, that's quite the starting point.
Isn't it? It immediately throws you into this high-stakes world where the lines get blurry really fast.
Yeah, it definitely grabs your attention. It suggests the sheer range of problems someone in his position might face. It's not just geology and engineering.
Not at all. It's navigating this whole complex, sometimes dangerous environment where, well, big money business and the criminal world can apparently intersect.
Makes you wonder about the real pressures, doesn't it? Even if dramatized.
Totally. And it ramps up fast. There's this one scenario, it sounds completely insane, where a plane loaded with drugs crashes right into an oil truck.
No way. A drug plane into an oil truck.
Yep, it's pure chaos. It kind of underlines how unpredictable and, frankly, dangerous Tommy's world is supposed to be.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah, that's intense. So it's not just boardroom meetings.
far from it. But it's not all explosions and cartel talks. He's also juggling family life. He's got a teenage daughter, and his son is just starting out in the company right at the very bottom.
Okay. So there's that personal side too. That helps ground it a bit, right? Makes him more relatable amidst all the extreme circumstances.
Exactly. It adds that human dimension. You could almost think of him as, like, the oil company's firefighter, always rushing to put out the next crisis.
That's a good analogy. Constantly in reactive mode, dealing with whatever blows up, literally or figuratively. And it sounds like things blow up pretty often in this show.
Seems like it. Now, speaking of starting at the bottom, let's talk about his son, Cooper. He's educated, could probably start higher up, but he chooses to be a gusano.
Gusano. What does that term mean in this context?
It refers to the workers doing the real grunt work, basically, maintaining the big extraction machines out in the field. It's tough, dirty, dangerous work. Definitely not the executive suite.
Interesting choice for someone with his background. It suggests he wants to understand the business from the ground floor up, maybe. See what it's really like.
That seems to be the idea. He wants the first-hand experience, but that choice immediately highlights the risks you mention.
How so?
Well, very early on, Cooper is involved in an explosion. He barely makes it out alive, but tragically, some of his coworkers don't.
Wow. So the show doesn't shy away from the dangers of that kind of work. That adds a layer of grit, of realism, maybe.
It definitely does. It's a stark reminder. But here's where Cooper's story gets really interesting, kind of unexpected.
Okay.
Even though he started in this very physical, hands-on role, he starts developing this real aptitude for the other side of things, legal matters, accounting, petroleum regulations, the more complex stuff.
Huh. So he's not just learning the machinery, he's absorbing the whole business. That's quite a turn.
Yeah, it challenges that idea that you're either a field guy or an office guy,
Yeah.
right? It suggests that real-world experience, even the tough stuff, can give you this incredibly deep understanding.
It makes sense. Seeing how things actually work on the ground must inform how you understand the paperwork and the deals later on.
Totally. And there's this specific moment that shows it. He ends up advising a widow, Ariana, her husband, died in that explosion, about a multi-million-dollar indemnity payment.
So he's gone from Gusano to advising on complex financial and legal matters,
Yeah.
using his knowledge and showing empathy.
Exactly. He's developed this expertise and uses it to help someone directly affected by the industry's dangers. It really makes you think about the value of having people with that kind of ground level experience involved in higher level decisions.
Yeah, that's a really interesting character arc. His journey provides a different lens on the industry compared to his father's, maybe.
For sure. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Think about the whole world Landman creates around the Texas oil scene.
Right, the bigger picture.
You definitely get this strong contrast. On one hand, you have the Gusanos like Cooper facing danger daily. On the other, you see the immense wealth and luxurious lifestyles of the top players, like this character Monty Miller.
hmm The classic upstairs, downstairs, but in the oil fields. Extremes of risk and reward.
Exactly. But maybe the most shocking element the show introduces is this direct parallel or even overlap between the oil business and drug trafficking.
Yeah, you mentioned Tommy negotiating with cartels. That's a bold connection to make.
It really is. And the show leans into it. It's not just hinted at. Tommy is actively working with these groups, seemingly as a necessity to operate.
It makes you consider the environments where, high-value resources are extracted or moved. The potential for, let's say, unconventional partnerships must exist in some real-world scenarios, even if not this dramatic.
And it gets even more intense. There's a point where Tommy is actually captured and tortured by narcos.
Tortured. Okay, this show does not hold back.
Not at all. But then, and this is the twist, the leader of the cartel steps in. He stops the torture. Why? Because their business relationship, their dealings, are valuable to him.
Wow. So even in that incredibly dangerous situation, there's this underlying layer of business logic almost.
Yeah.
A twisted kind of mutual interest.
It's pretty wild, right? It paints a picture of incredibly complex, high-stakes relationships where the lines between legitimate business and crime are just incredibly blurred.
It definitely emphasizes the extreme pressures and moral ambiguity these characters are navigating.
And through all this, Tommy keeps climbing. After the big boss, Monty Miller, dies, Tommy actually becomes the company director.
So he goes from fixer, dealing with crises on the ground, all the way to the top job.
Yep. Which kind of speaks to his deep, almost visceral understanding of the business. From the dirt and danger right up to the boardroom deals, he's seen it all.
That makes sense, in a way. His journey suggests that maybe the best leaders are the ones who truly understand the nuts and bolts, the risks and rewards at every single level, not just the theory.
Yeah, it's a compelling trajectory for him. Now, thinking about the series overall, it definitely has a narrative arc. It builds to a peak, leaves things open, clearly hoping for a second season,
Sure, standard practice for streaming shows these days. Set up the next chapter.
And yeah, okay, it does have some of those elements you expect from, American TV. Subplots about relationships, personal dramas, that kind of thing.
Which isn't necessarily bad, right?
Right.
Those elements often help us connect with the characters, make the high-stakes stuff feel more grounded in human experience. It can't all be oil rigs and cartels.
Oh, true. But even with those familiar pieces, I think the core of Landman, its exploration of this specific world, feels pretty unique. It's a fascinating glimpse into something most of us, never see up close.
Agreed. It offers a perspective, whether heightened or not, that you don't often find on TV.
And really, Tommy Norris is the key. He's such a strong, charismatic character. Even with all the tough situations, he really pulls you through the story.
He definitely seems like the anchor. He's our guide through this complex, often dangerous landscape. The deals, the family pressures, the shocking criminal intersections, all playing out against that Texas oil backdrop.
So let's kind of wrap this part up. We've looked at Landman, seen how it throws you into this intense mix of high-stakes oil drama, complicated family stuff, and these really surprising entanglements with the criminal underworld.
All centered around Tommy Norris, this character who's constantly putting out fires in an incredibly challenging environment. The ultimate problem solver, like you said.
Right. And what really stands out is just the intensity, the complexity of the world the show portrays. Tommy's ability to just navigate it all is kind of amazing.
It does make you think, doesn't it, about the pressures and the sort of hidden realities that might exist inside major industries that, from the outside, seem much more straightforward.
Exactly. So here's maybe something to think about after listening. When you see a portrayal like this, with all the danger, the complex deals, the moral gray areas, what does it suggest about the real pressures, the unexpected twists and turns that might actually happen within these powerful industries that shape so much of our world, but that we maybe don't fully grasp?
Yeah, what goes on behind the curtain. It's definitely food for thought.